friends, 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city.
Is there anything that Lionel Messi is better than you at?
It's opinions. I respect your opinions. Maybe in your opinion Messi is better than me, but in my mind I'm better than him.
I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Told her if it's all me, everything is on me. Gon' back it up. Matter what? Told you I'ma do me. Why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck. Country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month. I don't rap much. I just hit the money and go stack up. Only buy a car, so you can tat it up. All that other bull, it don't matter much. You only climb me, I put the ladders up. No fault, I done doubled up on the workload. I think I fell in love with the bankroll. Pray up, get money, then we lay low. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up,
Loyalty's dead. Live for the rewards. Welcome to Ace Podcast Nation, the home of Rhodri Giggs on football, and we are here to talk all things football for the next 45 minutes to an hour, as much as we can possibly fit in. There is loads to discuss, and I got a few controversial. I got a controversial subject. I got some other stuff I want to ask Rhodri. It's going to be a busy one. Let's get into it. If you've got any questions, anything, Rhodri's going to make as much noise as possible, and then send your questions. Let's have a good time. I'm joined as ever by ex-Salford City, ex-Bangor City, ex-Aberystwyth Town, FC United.
Mosley, don't forget Mosley.
Mosley. Yeah, Mr. Rhodri Giggs. You good, my friend?
So we can't forget them.
Indeed, mate. You good?
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, you?
I am, mate. I'm very good. I'm in a good mood, mate, today. You know, it's West Ham won yesterday, which we'll get to. That was interesting. I've seen Gaz is in the chat, loving it. Still drunk. But there we go. He's had a good time. And, of course, you know, got lots and lots to discuss. I've got a few. I got a really interesting topic, which I want to put to you in just a second. But before we get to that, wanted to make a little mention. I had a message today from a big fan of yours. It seems to be a few of them, like big fans of Rhodri Giggs, and their team is called Natural Talent is overrated. Is obviously a statement from your ad, as is Loyalty's dead, live for the rewards. And they took that quote as inspiration for the name of their team on FIFA, which is called Natural Talent FC, and their stadium is called the Rhodri Giggs Arena, and they've had it for about 4 years. Got 4 years, mate. They've been it's been going, and
it's 2019. I did that January, so come out in February. So it's coming up to 4 years, 6 months this month. So
crazy, mate. So I said bring it to your attention. A little shout out because they're big fans of you.
Shout out, probably top of the league, no doubt. That's where I usually am, unless we're Super Six. But
we don't need to talk about that anymore. It's over. So you don't need to go through the pain of it.
No. It's important. It's important to go through these painful bits in life, so that makes you stronger, a bit of character, and it makes you better. You know, that's how I look at it anyway. That's good. That. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they'll be up there, top of the league and stadium.
The Rhodri Giggs Arena. There we go.
Brilliant.
No, in fairness, mate, right? That advert is still the greatest advert ever made. Like, I don't care what anyone says.
I still get messages about it today. Still.
Yeah, well, mate, I'll never forget. Like, the first ever podcast we did together, and when we were talking about that, and when I can't remember the statement you said but it was something along the lines of, in your very dry way, you just said something like that was a step too far, and that just broke me. Just broke me, mate. Absolutely broke me. But there we go.
yeah. Someone messaged me saying it's a step too far. Please, come on.
Right, mate, let's get talking about football because there is so much to discuss. We've had the FA Cup final. We've had the Europa Conference final. Lots and lots to discuss. Obviously, Man City are going in for the old treble on Saturday as well, which I'm sure you're absolutely itching to talk about. But I do want we'll save that for the end because I would like to have a bit of a deep dive into it and maybe discuss how Inter can beat them, because I think people are writing Inter off a bit, and I think that they've got more to offer than what people are making out. But we'll get into that a bit later. We're going to talk our Premier League team of the season. So I think we'll start with that, mate, because that's like a pretty quick one. We're just going to kind of give our personal Premier League teams of the season. So, easy, really. Like, we won't spend ages on it. In your opinion, who's been the best goalkeeper in the Premier League this season?
Yeah, Edison. I was thinking about Pope, but Edison. Pope's just a big dope. He can't even kick it. Edison's it's like a midfielder playing goal, and he's a top class goalkeeper.
And do you know what, mate? Right? Do you know, very quickly, who really impressed me on the weekend was the goalkeeper, the sub goalkeeper for Man City. The way he was playing was insane.
Pinging it about.
The only keeper I think which has come close to Edison potentially is Aaron Ramsdale. The only thing which holds me back is he made 2 or 3 high profile errors when it really mattered.
Not having that.
He's had a good season, but I think Edison, I don't see anyone really, I don't think you can give it to Alisson, who's normally up there, because they're down, they struggled all season. De Gea has had all those clean sheets, but he's also had a 7-0, a 6-0.
Aaron Ramsdale, stinker, 4 relegations and bottled the league. No.
Okay, so we'll go with Edison, but I think we both agree with that. Right back for you, who was the best right back this year in the Premier League? So I think there's a few which kind of go into this, because you've got to try and look at it from the whole season and try not to use recency bias, because I think if you're using recency bias, I think, or certainly the latter part of the season bias, I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka's up there because I think he's been excellent, but I don't think you can count him as the best in the league all season because he only really played sort of half a season. For me, it's Kieran Trippier at Newcastle. I think he's been the best right back in the league. Trying to think who else.
Hands down, yeah. There's no.
I don't think there's anyone who comes close, really, is there?
No.
I can't think of anyone.
No.
So
let's move on.
Left back.
Go on.
Left back then. Luke Shaw.
No.
I think
I'm going to go for the kid from Brighton. I like him.
So I like, the guy from Brighton.
What's his name?
Oh, mate, you know what I'm like with names. But I like the Brighton centre-back who's on loan from Chelsea, Colwell. Levi Colwell. That's it. Estupiñán at Brighton has done well. He actually played right back. Estupiñán, though, so you can't put him in at left back.
So who was the left back then?
I'll have a look now. I'll have a look.
Because it was the left back for Brighton.
Against Man City, he played on the left, Estupiñán. And
he played left back most season.
That's right, because Gross played on the right, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think...
come on, get your facts right, Ty. Come on.
I was reading the comments, see.
I've only watched Brighton 20 times, and he played left back. I'm thinking, what?
So I think there's better left backs.
Go on then, name one.
Luke Shaw's been a better left back in the Premier League this year. Easily, mate.
No.
I am a Luke Shaw fan, as we all know.
So am I, and he's done really well, but
Chilwell's had
he's been injured a bit. He's played centre half a bit, so that's why I'm not. If he played left back all season, in my mind, Luke Shaw's had a fantastic season because of that versatility.
So that's the big. Who's the big boy who plays for Newcastle? The local boy.
Oh, Burns.
Yeah, but Burn, is it?
Yeah.
I think he's had an outstanding season.
He's done very well.
He just doesn't look like a left back, but he's done very well.
Yeah. Looks weird out there.
Chilwell's been shite for. I mean, Cancelo left, and Zinchenko had a really poor end to the season.
City fullback. Aki played there half the season, then the other kids played there half the season.
Kanji played there, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think in terms of like consistency, I think it's between. Oh, what about the Villa left back, the French guy?
No.
Come on.
No,
I think for consistency, I would, if it was me, I would go with Burn from Newcastle, Luke Shaw, Aaron Cresswell. I think
you got mine, so you were just waiting on yours.
I know. So you think Estupiñán?
Yeah.
I think I would go. Oh, see, I think I'd go Dan Burn, mate. I got to be honest, over Estupiñán because, and there is a slight reason for that because I've got, for me, the best two centre backs in the league. I think one of them is the Brighton centre back, and the other one. So I would go Levi Corwell and probably.
I've not even seen him play when they played against us. It was Webster and Dunk.
Yeah, he did play quite a lot of games. But all right, who have you got in the centre back? Please don't say it's Saliba. Be very disappointed with that.
Diaz.
Ruben Diaz from Man City. It's a shout.
Diaz and Dunk.
Diaz and Dunk, eh? See, I would go.
Dunk for his aerial ability and his passing on the ball. He's the most passed player, the player that's passed the most in the Premier League all season. He's got the most passes from a centre half. So I know some of these might be sideways, but still to beat these midfielders who have the ball all the time, it's you can see that he's getting involved. Now, he's got more than John Stones. So.
Yeah, and I think, for instance, there's a couple who I think Lisandro Martinez would be in my team.
Yeah, my initial thought was him, but then I think he's missed the last 6-7 weeks. Yeah, so it'd be unfair but I'm sure Diaz has missed a bit. I'm sure. Don't use these English centre halves. These just play every week, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, what about Fabian Schär at Newcastle?
Yeah. All in good shouts, mate. But Diaz and Dunk for me, nice and solid.
Yeah, I would go.
Very comfortable on the ball, as well, both of them.
Yeah, I think I'd go probably Diaz, and I don't know if I'd go Dunk. I quite like Sven Botman as well. I think Botman made a massive difference to Newcastle as well. So I think I would go Sven Botman and Diaz as my centre back pairing. And then we'll just call it 4-3 or whatever. What do you want to do? 4-2-3-1, is it?
I know mine. It's 4-3-3, but I've got a curveball in my midfield.
Okay. Right, give me your midfield then, and then I'll give you my midfield.
Oh, what? Concedo, Rhodri, Harry Kane.
You're not having Harry Kane in midfield, mate. That's outrageous.
Number 10. Can he not play that? Fucking come on.
Outrageous trying to squeeze these players in.
I'm squeezing in. He's a number 10. Plus, he'll get you 30 goals a season. Cheers. Plus, the Viking up front will get me 50 goals. So, come on. And then I've got my wingers. He'll score me 30 on the left. And on the right, I've not thought of him yet. So, there's goals. There's like fucking 120 goals in 3 players I've named there.
I would
Rashford on the left. Haaland. I've got to think of the right.
So my midfield, I've got Odegaard and Rhodri. And then my number 10 is up for grabs at the moment.
See, you're just upset because you know that's a good idea and you can't do it now. Because I've done it.
No, I've got a couple. There's a couple of others who are like
my team would smash the fuck out of yours.
Yeah,
because of that Harry Kane. Just put him in there. Boom.
I gotta say, I think Casemiro was very unlucky to miss out.
Oh fuck! I didn't think of him. Jesus.
So I would actually go with my midfield three. I'm going to be Casemiro, Odegaard, and Rhodri. See, I haven't got Casado in that. Fuck.
Yeah, Casado, because Casado's been excellent, and he's either Real Madrid bound or he's going somewhere this summer, so he's going to a better place. Could have put Casemiro, but how can I pick him over Rhodri? Rodri's won the league, won the FA Cup. Casemiro's not. So, yes, Casemiro's probably had the better impact, but
you can't not have Rhodri in there, can you? Yeah, I think Rhodri.
Plus, the name is a very cool one. Come on.
Well, there you go. Rhodri, Casado, Odegaard is my three, and then just in terms of the best, I think they're the best three midfielders in the league this year. And then I think Haaland.
And then you were leaving out Bruno.
Yeah,
De Bruyne.
That's it. There's been so many high performers, and you could effectively have half the Man City team. For me, like Haaland's been the best striker, and then I'm having
my team there. Harry Kane just feeding Haaland. Boom, boom.
Yeah, you had to cheat.
Anything comes out the edge of the box, Harry Kane smash, boom. Come on.
And I'm having.
I know Harry Kane can spray them 60-ball passes as well. You know that, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then get in the box.
I'm not playing players out of position. I'm not playing players out of position just to get him in my team. Midfielder. He's not a midfielder.
Class players will play anywhere.
Of course. But we're on about like the best performers in the league this year in midfield, attack, and defense. He's an attacker, but whatever. You have to bend the rules.
Stroke, number 10. He's played that role. You know,
it's all right. I'm going to play Haaland because he's
got no imagination. That's all.
Centre back.
You watch Cardiff week in week out. No imagination.
I've got Haaland up front. I've got Salah on the right, and then I nearly went for Grealish.
Salah's had a stinker of a year.
No, mate, he hasn't. He's just been in a shit Liverpool team. He's scored a shitload of goals.
His mate's gone doing all his running. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's always been the case, though, isn't it? It's that. So I think Grealish deserves to be in the conversation.
But then I'd go to Rashford scored 30 goals.
Yeah, and I think Rashford has got to be in there, and then I'm leaving out Harry Kane, and that's where I've got a problem because.
See, I don't leave Harry Kane out because if you put Harry Kane in, you put in a round hole in a square peg. Where Harry Kane can play that number 10 role, he does it for his club. And you're saying, you know what I mean? Poor management, that no imagination. See,
well, some of us haven't got your managerial experience, have we? So there we go. Just a watcher, and so yeah, that would be mine. Salah, Haaland, Rashford.
Everyone comment whose team would win. I know.
I'll tell you one thing, mate.
Just to let Si know. Just
Harry Kane can come into my team if he grows a backbone and doesn't stay at Spurs this year. I don't care where he goes, but if he stays at Spurs next year, the man's got no ambition whatsoever.
No, you're just hating on him now because he's in my team.
Yeah, just picking on him because he's on the opposing team. I'm just disappointed I couldn't get Casemiro in my team, mate. I do like him. But yeah,
on the right, who would have put on the right? Let's have a look now.
You had Haaland through the middle. Rashford.
I would probably have Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, that's a great shout, mate. He had a fantastic season, and it is difficult because De Bruyne is not in either of our teams.
But I'm putting people in the positions they play.
Well, not really. You're playing Harry Kane in midfield, but we'll just. Yeah.
Well, he's not. He's an attacking midfielder / striker because the mentality he's got.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put Haaland at centre back because he defended some corners.
Then you'd lose 50 goals, pal. You'd be down the road, P45 for size, into it.
There's loads of players, and it's just you can't fit them all in, mate. Just at the end of the day,
You're just upset because you think, oh shit,
I am.
I didn't think that.
I'm very upset.
Yeah.
Serves me right for not
Yeah.
doing it beforehand. FA Cup final, mate. It was a tough watch, wasn't it, for you United fans? I thought they did.
It wasn't, because it was the second half was because but it wasn't because we played all right. We got back into it after the first half because after that goal goes in, you go, oh shit. But they got back into it. But just a better team won, mate. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
You can hold your hands up. They tried their hardest. Could the goals been prevented? Yes.
I think when you've played that well, the one frustrating thing is like, all right, the first goal, I think that's just one of them things. Caught a bit cold. First 15 seconds, he's hit it. If he's hit it.
Yeah, but actually saying that, mate, it's a final. You get playing a derby. Everyone should be switched on from the first whistle.
You can't be letting a ball bounce like that. I do get it.
And being 5 yards away from your man.
But that second goal, mate, to me is inexcusable. And I tell you one thing, mate, right? I think the criticism that De Gea got for it was so over the top. Should he have saved it? Probably. But I think he saw it so late. To me, the blame is on the players who didn't pick the play. Like, he's got it in him because he's done it in the first half.
They only leave him on the edge of the box and the keeper's got
outrageous. And he just can't see it. He can't see it, and then he should have saved it, but I don't think. I think it's outrageous.
He'll be throwing his fucking cap on it.
Mm. Yeah, mate. And of course, United need a keeper who's more effective in the way they want to play. Of course they do. Everyone knows that. But I think the way some people in the media and fans have turned on De Gea is outrageous. When for a long time, when you were really shit, he was keeping you.
Yeah, they're not United fans, mate. You get your information on Twitter. It's poor. That's not just the fucking Twitter idiots. Yeah, it's change the word then. Quickly. But
I thought Garnacho had scored mine when he killed that one in the second half.
Rashford had a chance where he's got to hit the target there.
He looked injured, mate, Rashford, I thought.
Yeah, Eriksen didn't look at it, was off. Then Garnacho come on and much better than Sancho. So when you're playing them finals, mate, and you're up against it, you've got to take every chance, and United didn't take the chances they were given. So the better team won.
Yeah, I agree. And I think
the 30 years on the other side where we've not been played really well, but we win. That's what you do. You got better players and better team.
Yeah, you look at the bench. Like United were depending on it was pretty much Garnacho or bust, wasn't it? Because you had Weghorst and McTominay, and they're bringing on Foden and anyway,
Mahrez
it's just
Alvarez and
exactly that, mate. Absolute insanity. I just thought the one mistake that Ten Hag perhaps made was Christian Eriksen has struggled for the last month. He's looked knackered. So he was never going to have the legs to do the job he was asked to do. But I don't really think it would have made any difference.
I think they did that to put Bruno there because Bruno can play right and he'd be an extra midfield. But he looked off it. Yeah, he did look off it. Top day,
Yeah, big pitch. And so that was that. Trebles on, obviously, regardless of the charges and things like that. The treble's on. We'll go back to that in a bit. I want to talk a little bit about West Ham. Just before we do, right, Liverpool paid 35 million for World Cup winner McAllister from Brighton. Okay? Now, in my opinion, McAllister, he's just won the World Cup this year.
What's the story there? He's only got a year left or something.
I believe he had a bit longer than that. But I'll tell you exactly how long he had now. But he had, so basically, the fee could rise to 55 depending on, different stuff.
Yeah.
He scored 20 goals in 112 appearances. Obviously, what helped Argentina win the World Cup was excellent in the World Cup as well. Has had an excellent season. Somehow, he's going for 35 million, yet Declan Rice is going for supposedly 100 million. Chelsea wants 70 million for Mason Mount. No, it just doesn't add up to me. So I'll tell you something.
Always been the same, mate, for English players.
Declan Rice,
English clubs.
I think, is an excellent footballer, but and I think there's a caveat. It's very different playing for a team which sits back and plays a certain way, like West Ham and David Moyes do, to then going to play for an Arsenal or United. Or
he plays for England, mate. They have a lot of
hang on, let me finish, right? In the final for England versus Italy, he was anonymous and wasn't very good. Last night, he was all right, but he got outplayed by his opposite number. I forget his name, begins with an A. But he got outplayed by his opposite number, who's going for like 20 million. Now, look, they won the cup, and I'm happy for them, and I think, great. I'm just saying, if I'm paying £100 million for someone, I want Jude Bellingham, or I want, I don't know, Harry Kane, or it's like someone who is going to come into my side and turn me from nearly to title contenders. And I just don't think that. So say in United's case, right, as we understand it, they haven't got loads to spend. So say they spunk the majority of their budget on Declan Rice. Yes, it's a good signing.
As well, haven't they?
What I mean is it's a good signing, and I'm sure he'll fit in and he'll improve the squad. But if they just signed Declan Rice, they're not going to be anywhere near the league next season.
You really think Manchester United are only going to sign Declan
No, I don't. I'm just using it as an example. So and the example being that, like, if you're going to spend £100 million on one player, it should make such a substantial difference to your team, and I just don't see that from him. But on the other hand, I'm not saying he's.
I disagree. I think with better players, better manager, and a better team, then he would be. He wouldn't have to. He wouldn't have to do as much that he does. It would take time to adjust, but yeah, I agree. He's not worth that, but that's what it is. It's always been the same. Yeah. And when United bought Michael Carrick, I think it was like 18 million. It was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right.
And look, I know
at the time 18 million was a lot of money. And it was like, whoa. But it's always been all the same. Like Andy Carroll, 35 million at the time. Remember that, to Liverpool?
Yeah.
It's like, great. What?
I just if I'm like Arsenal or I'm United or whatever, and I'm listening to these prices, and then I'm watching.
Grealish is not £100 million, but he went for £100 million.
Well, mate, if I'm spending between 70 and £100 million on a central midfielder, if I'm Arsenal, United, whoever, and my choice is a Mason Mount, Caicedo, or Declan Rice, I am taking Caicedo all day long. Because he's proven he can play in a side that plays that type of football. He's proven he can play in like several different positions. I don't understand.
I agree, but it's where the player wants to go, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Let the player out. If you've got opportunities, you're not going to be just Man United on the table. There's going to be
no. And I mean, like Arsenal players.
It's not like back in the day where if Manchester United come in for you, you're going to go for Manchester United unless Real Madrid come in for you. Or Barcelona. Well, no, it won't be Barcelona, it'd be Real Madrid or United. That'd be it. If any of them teams coming for you, then you're gonna think about it. But by all accounts, Real Madrid want him, Arsenal want him, United want him.
Tax, mate, it's mental. Like Stu MC in the chat on YouTube says, "What is the hype on Declan Rice? It used to be Dyer, then it was Maguire, and now it's this cumbersome orc." Look, I don't think he's a bad footballer, and I'm not saying that he won't go on and be successful wherever he goes. I'm just saying there's no way he's worth 100 million. Like,
I agree.
There's no way Declan Rice is.
If the manager brings him in, then I trust the manager because he's not put a step wrong at the minute for me.
Where do you think Declan Rice would be best suited to go in? If you were his advisor, where would you advise him to go? Take your Man United ears off, unless you think that that's the best move for him. Like, where do you think is the best move for him?
First of all, I'd chat to Mason Mount, say what you're doing, because it always helps. You go to a club and you've got someone who you really know. I know that they'll know some of the England lads, but You know, they grew up together. So if they go more or less at the same time, you have that kind of York and Cole effect. You know what I mean? So I'd play him next to Casemiro.
Okay. And if you're if you're Declan Rice and you've got a choice of going to Arsenal or United, like, what do you think?
Well, you look at him when he was a kid, where he always wanted to play. Always wanted to play here. It's always been the fate of dreams at Old Trafford. So you'd think it'd be Manchester United, but you know, he might not. He's from. He's London boy. Will he want to move from London if he still to Arsenal? Then he'd have to move. So that's a big thing as well. So, but we'll wait and see. Have Arsenal got bigger pockets than Man United? I don't know. It's all about the player, though. Man United and Arsenal. If it's me and I'm him, depends what his mindset. If he's grew up thinking I want to play for a certain club, but if that's not the case, if it's for me, you'd sign for Arsenal. You're from London, it'd be no brainer.
Yeah, Stu says he followed up his other comment and said similar to what I said earlier. Was he said last night alone, Nico Fernandez twisted Rice up to inside out. Jovic brushed aside his physical presence for his first chance, and Bonaventura popped it around him like a pub player. I mean,
yeah, for me it'd be Casado. I'd have Casado all day long.
Yeah, I mean, Gaz, who's a West Ham fan, has kind of jumped in as well, and he said, "We don't have to sell him. He's the captain. That's why." And I think, yeah, he's English. He's the captain. They don't have to sell him, really. So I suppose that's why.
I've seen Coach today saying that they agreed to let him go.
Yeah, but I mean, Tottenham agreed to let Harry Kane go before, didn't they, to Man City? And then
no, but if they had the conversation, yeah, true. I don't, you know, I don't understand why he's missed the West Ham. I love the fans, but I'm going. So you don't love the fans, then you just, yeah. So you're playing in Europe, you're winning trophies. What's the problem? Where do you want to go?
What do you make of West Ham's performance?
You're not guaranteed to win trophies. You go to Arsenal, they've not won anything. You're not guaranteed to win trophies with Man United. You're only guaranteed to win trophies if you manage to sit in a minute. So yeah.
It's an interesting one, mate, for sure. What about West Ham's performance yesterday?
I didn't even know Billy Bond's name last night when he interviewed him. He said, to be up there with Bobby Moore and the other one. The other one? You mean Bobby Bond? You mean Bond? Billy Bond. Yeah, I got it wrong. It's just like, come on.
But in fairness, you're not West Ham, you. So
no, I obviously know. I just got mixed up. Yeah. I went to school with a lad called Barry Bond. Believe it or not.
So what do we make of West Ham's performance? Listen, I think it was a great achievement to a certain extent. I think it's effectively like the Cup Winners' Cup in it of old, like that sort of level. I was looking at some of the teams they've played. They haven't played the greatest teams in Europe along the way. However, they've got there. And I think Fiorentina is a good side. They had a lot of good players. And I thought for large parts, West Ham managed them. But I thought Fiorentina...
Yeah, they've got good pedigree in the European competitions. Remember United playing in the Champions League all in the 90s. Gabriel Batistuta, who used to play for them. So they had a top team back then. But yes, it's good. The European trophy back then, fans won't care if the Champions League, Conference League... They've had a great time, and it's something they'll never, ever forget. So
yes,
and it's a nice trophy as well.
It is nice. And the other thing as well is they stuck with David Moyes when they could have sacked him.
Well, you look at all the teams that stuck with the managers and ones that didn't. The ones that didn't get relegated, the ones that did stay up. Nottingham Forest, Tottenham. Nottingham Forest. Who's what we're talking about there?
Managers.
West Ham. No, West Ham.
Yeah.
And there's another one. Bournemouth. Gary O'Neill, they stuck with him. Leeds, they got rid of someone. Southampton, they got rid of someone. And who's the other one that went down? Leicester, they got rid of the manager. So all the ones that got rid of the managers went down. All the ones that didn't and stuck with the managers, all the ones that didn't and battled it, Laters.
Well, it's almost like poker, isn't it? In that you've got to it's like who can sort of keep that poker face all the way.
It's keeping your nerve. They all think this, you change the manager and a big turnaround and we'll start winning games. Doesn't always work like that. Doesn't always work. When you've got a good manager like Brendan Rodgers, I know some of the fans were, but I think if he would have stayed there, he might have kept him up. I think Southampton was always a struggle. Leeds, if they kept Bielsa, would they be here? So, careful what you wish for.
Yeah, indeed, mate. Indeed.
I am not disappointed at Leeds. Leeds, I don't mind Leicester. I don't mind Southampton, although it's a trek. But yeah, adios Leeds. Sorry, Leeds fans.
So Stu MC says West Ham have splurged English prostitute league money. Look at the players: Harler, Skamaka, Anderson, Fornells, Benrahma, Cornet, Paquetá. Well, all on huge payments. They have been marked, haven't they? West Ham have been marked as potential financial fair play things. So I think that's another reason why Declan Rice is probably going to be sold, because if they sell him for 100 million, that takes the pressure right off the financial fair play side of things. I don't know, mate. He still ain't worth 100 million to me, but I suppose he's
no, Anthony's not worth 90 million.
No, of course he's not. But I suppose any player's worth.
Sancho's not worth 15 million at the minute.
I'll tell you what, then.
75. Imagine you'd have bought him for 100 odd million. We were talking. Wow.
Casemiro, to me, is the complete midfielder, right? He was 70 million, and he is the complete midfielder. Won everything in the game, and he was 70 million. So how can you possibly tell me?
30 though, isn't he? Declan Rice, what, 23, 24?
Well, so because Declan Rice is younger, he's 30 million.
Well, yeah, you're going to get more years, aren't you? You're going to get more out of him, aren't
you? Yeah, so, I mean, look, congratulations to West Ham. I've got a couple of West Ham mates. I'm really happy for them because, like you say, it's a night they'll never forget.
I do like the Bubble song as well.
Yeah, I seen you post that earlier. It is what it is, isn't it? Like the Conference League was not like a tournament filled with European giants, but that's where it is. It's there for the teams outside of this kind of Champions League sides and the Europa League sides.
Like I said before, the West Ham fans won't give the monkeys. They're buzzing and still probably buzzing. So they've seen their team lift a European trophy, which there's only Manchester City to go now. That's 51 years, I think it is. What a pathetic club. 51 years, that European trophy.
I think David Moyes is going to have to get his act together in the league, because I do think maybe there was an element of sacrificing their league form to chase that trophy, I think. But you don't know. I mean, Mourinho did it with the Europa League, didn't he? He kind of binned it all off and just put all his hope on that, because he saw that. But with the Europa League, his aim for that was to win it and get into the Champions League, and then binned off the top four, and it worked. Gaz says we had the best season in London, West Ham. What do you think about that?
Well, they won a trophy.
So is that a better season than Arsenal?
But Arsenal had the Champions League. So which do you? This will go back to the old. It's always better to win a trophy than come second. They're never going to win it in the Champions League, are they?
No.
Then we'll leave them. 20 years, Arsenal fans. Hey, remember we come second?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Go, hey, look at this video here. Those ones in Prague. Look at this here. Come on, there's no comparison. Anyone who said Arsenal have, then an idiot.
Stu MC, he's on fire. He's making me chuckle. He said Declan Rice moved like Casemiro in 2 years' time last night. He runs like he's towing a caravan. Don't think he's a fan. Before we get on,
wear socks like tights just does me head in. Pull your socks down, mate.
Yeah, wear them Jack Grealish style. Come on, everyone knows that's the way to wear socks. So before we move on to the Champions League final and having a little deep dive into that and seeing how we think Inter can cause them a few issues, I've seen a lot of kind of discussions on podcasts and whatnot over this past week or so, and really in recent, like probably like since the Premier League Hall of Fame has started, stuff like that, where people are picking their all-time Premier League 11s and Hall of Fame, and then there was like an all-time Manchester team and stuff like this. So one of the things I've seen, I wanted to give you an example, right? So someone on a couple of podcasts I sort of saw clips of and watched, there was guys on there, fans of all different clubs, and they had their all-time Premier League teams included John Terry, Luis Suarez, people like that. But they didn't have your brother in it. He's
What's
not
that?
in the so a lot of these people, a lot of like podcasts and media and people like that, they're picking their all-time Premier League teams because of the Hall of Fame and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All-time United sides, whatever it may be, all these different, as the games have kind of been going on at the end of the season. And you've had people putting John Terry in like all-time Premier League teams, Suarez. But then I look at it and like I saw a few all-time United sides and like they're leaving out your brother, and same in the, obviously he's not in the Hall of Fame, and he's not getting in these all-time Premier League 11s. Whereas obviously prior to his recent issues away from football, he was being like the first names on the sheet because of the amount of the longevity of his career.
We've been through this before, haven't we?
But so what I just wanted to ask you, like,
who they put in front? Who they put in front of him? Go on, let's dissect it. Who they put in front of him?
So the one I saw, they had a front three of like Harry Kane, Suarez, and Beckham. I think was the kind of three, and it was just like, I get it.
Right, so yeah,
like,
it would be in front of Harry. It would be in front of Harry Kane and David Beckham on both sides. So it's just crap, mate. It's just crap.
And I just think it's like a massive double standard, isn't it? Because they're excluding him because of like whatever's going on, but then they're also including someone who was like proven to have been racist, and then another one who was like pretty much like everyone kind of was saying he was, but the Premier League bottled punishing him in John Terry. And it's just like, it gets really frustrating because it's one rule for one rule for another. And I don't want to go back into the whole Mason Greenwood thing and stuff like that. But people are kind of like saying, he should never be allowed to play again. Whether you agree or you disagree, I'm not really bothered about that. But like, he hasn't been charged with anything, regardless of what we've all heard and stuff like that. Whereas you had Alonso actually killed someone and then returned, played at the top level in the Premier League, in Europe, Barcelona. And it's just this weird thing of like players' legacies and careers seem to be affected in some cases by things off the field, but not in others. And I don't really understand what the benchmark is in terms of like when it's people
who get information from Twitter again.
Well, no, it's like literally one of them was off a Sky Sports podcast was where they were picking their all-time United side and they left him out.
Yeah, but these idiots were like 2 when Ryan was like 10 years in.
Gary Neville was picking it. Gary Neville and Mika Richards picked it, and they left him out.
No, they didn't.
Did they put him in the end? Because I
you need to watch it. If you're going to give this information, you need to watch it properly. With Roy Keane, Mika Richards, and Gary Neville, they put.
Not for the Manchester Derby one.
Oh, the Manchester City one I watched. Yeah. Sorry.
No. This was like a Premier League all-time one.
I know they put there. They put Ronaldo, didn't they?
They think they put Ronaldo.
But they were talking about Beckham, weren't they?
Yeah, they in the Manchester one they were talking about Beckham and they were talking about.
Who was on the right?
I think they it's difficult because they kept messing about with the formation, so they changed it halfway through because Mika Richards was moaning, didn't they? And
they contradict themselves, mate. It's just so
it's just,
like, how can you have the best midfield quartet by far? None. He won't have any arguments about it, but they're not in his team. It just doesn't make any sense. So, and you're going to argue with that. All right, you could probably argue, well, take Beckham out, put Ronaldo in. That may be a bit stronger. But you're not going to take our kid out and put Ronaldo on the left. Because I'm not being funny or nothing, but he couldn't lace fucking our kid's boots back in the day. So, you know, you got to understand he was playing. David Beckham is a very, very good player, but yeah. No, yeah.
Like, and you're talking like purely Premier League in a lot of these things as well. And like the Premier League Hall of Fame. And I get it. I get the reasons why. But like,
that should come into it though, should it?
It should be a purely football thing. And like, he did what, 20-something years in the Premier League at the highest level, winning trophy after trophy after trophy, individual, club, everything. And it's like, yeah, it's just, it makes the media look stupid, in my opinion. And it makes the radio stations and it makes the people who are talking about it stupid because you're leaving out Ryan Giggs of your team, but then you're putting in Luis Suarez or you're putting in X, Y, and Z. And it's like, just do it based purely on football if you're going to do it, or don't do it because it just makes you look silly.
It just makes a mockery of it, innit?
Yeah.
How can you have? Let's choose the Hall of Fame shit now. The Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. Let's go with Henry. Right. When Henry was at 17 years of age, he was playing for Monaco B.
Yeah.
Ryan was playing first team football for Manchester United. In them days, they weren't playing kids; they were playing against men. Yeah. It was a men's football. So yeah, let's go with Alan Shearer. What was Alan Shearer doing when he was 17? Sat on the bench for Southampton. That's what he was doing. So, and then where did Henry finish? 36 years of age, New York Red Bulls, where still he had 5 years left and they won another 2 Premier Leagues. In that time, he retired in American football for Manchester United. So it's just no comparison. Just no comparison. What do you want to do? Do you want to be the best player for like 3 or 4 years, or do you have a consistent career of 23 years, winning 13 league titles and not coming out of the top 3? Please, come on. Just pathetic.
I agree, mate. I agree wholeheartedly. And look, like, I think it's fair to say, like, we're talking purely about football. Like, and that's what these things are supposed to be, isn't it?
That's the all you can do. But you got to understand, in 2009, he got the public vote. He wasn't the best player, but he got the sympathy vote because of his career, blah, blah. So he got BBC personality in 2009. 2 years later, he's fucking everyone, he's shit, everyone hates him, he's not this. The perception has changed. Now all this stuff as well doesn't help. All right, so he's not this fucking, nice family boy, blah, blah, blah. He's a fucking, people have the opinions about him, and rightly so, but people can make mistakes. But it is what it is. You've put yourself out there to be criticised with the shit you've done, so man up and deal with it. But the football side shouldn't be questioned. In my mind, it shouldn't be questioned.
No, I completely agree. The last thing I wanted to touch on just before we do this, the Champions League, after the Europa League final, Jose Mourinho waited for the referee Anthony Taylor in the car park. First of all, gave him a mouthful of abuse in about 3 different languages. Had to be separated by security. And then the following day, when Anthony Taylor, his wife and his daughter were traveling home in the airport, they were surrounded, having chairs thrown at them. Like, first and foremost, I don't think what Jose Mourinho did in the car park helped, but you cannot hold him responsible for that, because to me, Anthony Taylor and his family should have had a UEFA security team until they got on that plane, at the very least.
What was it, like 3 coppers there?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even coppers. They were, as far as I am aware, they were airport security who kind of just jumped in because it was get so hot, and it was so hostile, mate. And I just thought, like, where UEFA should be ashamed of himself. And I've got no doubt they'll throw the book at Mourinho. I think he's already got a 4-game ban, and they'll blame him. But in my opinion, UEFA had a responsibility to give Anthony Taylor, regardless of whether you think his performance was shit or good or whatever, they had a responsibility to make sure that him and his family could get through that airport and get home safely. He was out there doing work for them, so it's their responsibility to make sure that he can get home safely. And if he's got his family with him, again, I think UEFA have the responsibility to provide him with security and alike. It was shocking, man.
Yeah, bad. Shouldn't happen, but there you go.
Okay. So on Saturday, Manchester City play Inter Milan in the Champions League final, mate. Obviously, Manchester City are going for the treble. Inter Milan, I believe they're also going for a treble. I'll have to double check that though. Not as familiar with the Italian league.
No, Napoli won the league. Yeah,
of course, Napoli did. Yeah. So Inter Milan, I thought they won something the other day, but I'll check that out. So Inter Milan, mate, the last time they won, the last time West Ham won a European trophy, Inter Milan won the European Cup. Just for a bit of, bit of an omen for you.
Good omen, yeah.
But I do feel like, look, Manchester City, in my opinion, are the best team in Europe, club side, and probably the best club side in the world, I would think. Like, they are exceptional. They've got so much depth. They play incredible football. They destroyed Real Madrid. They comfortably really beat United. They comfortably saw off Arsenal's challenge for the league. When it matters, they've got these players who are just special. And in particular, like Gundo, I can never say his fucking name. Gundogan, go on, son. Is always, he seems like an end of season specialist. Like when it matters, he steps up, and this season he has just been absolutely exceptional. But I think people, media, everybody is kind of writing it off as if this game's won, and I actually think Inter Milan have got a lot more about them than what people are making them out to be. They're making them out to be as if it's just going to be a gimme. Like, in my opinion, Inter Milan are much stronger defensively, for example, than Manchester City. They have several players who know the league. They've got a phenomenal goalkeeper. They've got a few players who know the Premier League, I meant to say. They've got a centre-back duo of Milan Skriniar, who's actually available on free. And I think he should come to some of the big Premier League clubs because he's a player. And Stefan de Vrij, who was one of the most highly rated young defenders in Europe not so long ago. He's a bit older now, but they're two solid centre-backs. They've won the league last year as well. They've got Onana in goal. They've got Matteo Darmian, who's having a very, very good season playing on the right. They got Bastioni. And the keeper needs one more clean sheet to match Mendy's record for clean sheets. And I think it was 2020 or 2021, whenever they won the Premier Champions League. I just, they got Mkhitaryan. On his day, Mkhitaryan is a phenomenally creative footballer. It's just sometimes he's one of them who kind of dips in and out sometimes, I think. They got DiMarco, phenomenal player. Lautaro Martinez is like...
No, it won't be a pushover, mate. It won't be plus a European final. It'll be nervy. So keep it tight early on. And the longer it goes, the nervy it'll get. So...
Who do you favour if it stays level going into the last?
You've got to favour City all the way through it, mate. But the strength they've got in depth, the way they can change the game by bringing other players on. Grealish isn't doing it. Let's bring Foden on. Silva isn't doing it. Let's bring Mahrez on. They've got options. Alvarez, to put him in the hole. See what let's go 2 up. So there's loads of ways you can go about it.
So Leslie says he's not a massive Man City fan. If he says if Inter attack, they have a chance of winning. If they let City play like the fools do in the Premier League, then they'll be chasing goals all over. There is ways to beat City, because look, John Stones has been amazingly impressive in his new role, which is effectively a midfielder. I think he's really shown. I think Pep has improved him dramatically as a footballer. I think the way he kind of drops in and out of midfield works for him. It gives him an overload in midfield, but he's quick enough to get back and cover. But if you can get someone like Lautaro Martinez or DiMarco or Mkhitaryan in and around those gaps, and then win the ball back high up the field, you're going to automatically outnumber their defense.
Yeah.
And with players like those sort of three, and Zach, they got Dzeko up front as well, who's obviously an ex-City player. If they can win the ball high up the pitch, they've got players who can create. Let's make no mistake. But it's that Rhodri Stones combination that I feel like is the vital. It's how you shut that down, because then if you don't shut that down, Gundogan and De Bruyne get the ball up to Grealish and to Haaland, and that's where they just become almost too difficult to deal with. Would you stick someone on Rhodri? If you were the opposing manager, would you stick someone on him and just follow him? Teams used to do that to De Bruyne, didn't they? They used to try and follow him around, but they've changed their formation.
You just get, as soon as he gets anyone that's close to him, and maybe do it in twos, or I don't know. You just have to figure it out. But to go, you have to have the right player for it. If you have the right player, then yes. But if you haven't, then no. They'll just weaken you.
So defensively, looks like they'll probably play Darmian, Acerbi, Bastoni, Dumfries, Barella. So yeah, it is difficult to see.
It's not an easy job to man-mark someone, follow them everywhere. It's got to be really disciplined.
It's an interesting one, because I do think it almost is, in some ways, is worth it. But then in other ways, I think Inter Milan have got where they are playing a certain way. They've beaten some top teams along the way. So maybe they should just play as they play. Solid defensively, very good on the
about your own game. Yeah, just worry about your own game. People do their own jobs, and be confident. And you're not going to go into it thinking they're going to lose. They're going to go into it thinking they're going to win, but they're going to have a certain game plan, because City are a good side. But you never go into a side that you think you're going to win. I was thinking about this before. I was thinking, could they ever do that? But I think to myself, I did it at the end of last season. We were going to the last game of the season to the top of the league, but they had to win. They had another game, and they had to win the league. We just went there to do a defensive job, but we could nick one with the pace that we've got up front. So I kind of, you just got to set your own game plan. We ended up 0-0, so we ended up staying solid, not getting beat. But they'll have their own game plan, and they just got to stick to it. For a full week to prepare, full couple of weeks to prepare. So
I wonder whether they have played five at the back at certain points, with DiMarco as a wing back, and I wonder whether they may adapt to that, because that just to counter the kind of Stones additional body in midfield and stuff. But look, Inzaghi is incredibly experienced. He knows what he's doing. It's going to be really, really interesting game. I also got two of the best goalkeepers in Europe playing, by the way, in Edison and Onana. So that's going to be really interesting. Then you've got Haaland up top. And, where United, for instance, are looking for a striker, the names you hear mentioned, Harry Kane, Osimhen, Lautaro Martinez of Inter, that Højlund, Martinez is no, flashing.
Well, there's a kid that plays for Atlanta as well. That's getting
that's that Højlund who looks like he's United bound. He's a United fan as well, apparently. So they should definitely sign him. By the way, have you seen him? Have you seen the size of him?
Yeah.
He's a big Scandinavian boy. But he's young in it, so it's going to be different. Look, Lautaro Martinez is my one to watch, mate, because he is a big game player who, when Inter Milan have needed him, he turns up, and he reminds me a little bit of Luis Suarez in that the energy, he's just everywhere, and if you can get him in the right positions on the ball, he will score you goals. So it's going to be a very interesting game. Also, the other thing is, let's not forget, the Italians know how to win finals, and they're very clever with the ref.
They know to defend as well, don't they?
Yeah, they know how to defend. They know how to win finals. They know how to play the ref.
City fans are a tad arrogant, thinking of just turning up. Sport doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So you have to be prepared. I'm sure they will be, but the players and the staff, but the fans are a tad arrogant, thinking they're gonna treble this, treble that. When we did it, it was so difficult, and there's so many times that you could just flip of a coin or a roll of a ball, and it's all over. So, a bad mistimed tackle, a red card, anything. It's a game of football. Anything can happen. So,
I think the media play into it a little bit as well.
If everything goes right and City prepare and play the way that they can, they should win. They should win.
Do you think the media can play into it as well? Like, because they're a bit like, City have already done it almost.
Maybe
that could rub off on the players.
They're selling newspapers. That's what they're doing. It. I'm
talking about fans that I
speak to. I'm talking about the fans who I see and speak to, not some hack who doesn't know football. I hit him on the head.
Yeah, but what I mean is, when you've got like BT Sport and Sky Sports and all the newspapers effectively making out the City have already done the treble, does that rub off on the players where it's almost psychologically, we just got to turn up?
You'd think not. You'd think not, because they're professionals, but it's got to seep in there somewhere. You just got to keep it out.
Yeah. I got to say, I'm looking forward to the game. I'm excited to see kind of how Inter Milan try to stop that City side. But Pep, we discussed it before the FA Cup final mid. Pep sometimes, he didn't do it against United. He has got a habit in the big games of almost trying to be too clever. Now, does he try and think up like a master plan, or do you think he sticks to what has been working the last 6
he sticks to what's been going,
It's interesting.
He made that mistake before, didn't he?
Yeah.
So will he make the same mistake again?
And remember, City have never won a Champions League. It's not just the treble. Like, they've never won a Champions League. And they said, that's
won a European show for 51 years. You don't hear that, Si? 51.
51. And that's playing on Pep's mind. He mentioned it in an interview a few weeks back, like people criticizing him because he spent all this money and he's come over and he's been there for longer than anywhere else, and he hasn't won that European trophy. So it is, it's there. It's like an albatross around his neck and their neck. It's whether they can deal with that pressure to just play their game. And look, you expect them to win, let's be honest, but we'll see. Yeah. What's your prediction for the game, mate?
That's what we do.
No, I would love to see Inter Milan, because I feel like it's been bordering on disrespectful from BT and some places like that. So I'd like Inter Milan to turn up and kind of make a real game of it. What's your prediction for the score, mate?
I really don't know, I really don't know. Because I'm 50-50. City should win, but, I know it's a game of football, so Italians, England was supposed to win last in the Euros. England at home playing Italy at Wembley, and Italy turned them over. So it can happen.
They know what they're doing, mate. They know what they're doing. So I'm going to go with 1-1 extra time. Man City win 2-1 in extra time.
Okay.
But
I'm going to go Inter Milan penalties.
I think it might go. I do think it goes extra time, possibly penalties, and then it's a free for all. Actually, if it goes to penalties, I do think Inter Milan will win. If it goes to penalties, that would be where my money would be on Inter, because I think then the pressure will get to the City players more than the Inter players, because Inter have got a lot of experience, and looking at their team, they've got a couple who've won European trophies as well, like Mkhitaryan and people like that. So yeah, interesting, mate. If just to finish the show, mate.
Yeah.
Manchester United sale, mate. Another twist, and the sale of Manchester United. Another twist yesterday is the Qataris put another bid.
Yeah.
I
don't think these are selling.
I don't either. So my personal opinion is that the Glazers are just not going to sell, and they're probably already in bed with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and they're going to kind of it's going to be Glazers 2.0. That's what I think. He's going to basically invest and kind of keep them going for another couple of years. I do wonder, though, mate, because people forget about the Super League. The Glazers were already talking to Barcelona and all these teams about whoever was involved. I can't remember who else, Liverpool, Arsenal, like all these clubs who wanted the Super League. The Glazers were involved, a big proponent of that behind the scenes, and no one knew about it until it was kind of on us. And I just wonder if the reason they're so reluctant is because they've got something on that front cooking in the background. But I just, look, it's dragging on.
That's not going to happen. You see the outpour last time. That Super League is not going to happen.
Yeah, I hope not, mate. The Glazers they're just dragging it out, mate. It's just boring. And
weird characters as well. Weird looking. Just get out. Just go home.
Shady characters, mate.
Look like a weird Amish.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I agree. They're just shady characters.
Get on your awesome car. Piss off. Got rinsed us enough. Come on.
Nearly forgot. Lionel Messi's gone to Inter Miami after all that fuss that he was going back to Barca. He's gone to Inter Miami. The Barcelona statement about that was pretty cutting as well. He was like, effectively, the president said, "Oh, we respect his decision to go and play at a lower level and not have the spotlight," and like a bit of a dig. So basically, Barca are in so much debt they couldn't afford him. Is what it comes down to, I think. He's getting
a franchise. He's getting paid off Apple. He's getting paid off Adidas. Yeah. He's getting paid off into Miami. He's doing all right.
Yeah, well, put it this way, mate. He had enough money to turn down. He's getting enough money in America to turn down 1.2 billion from Saudi Arabia for the next 3 years. So that tells you exactly how much he's getting paid out in shares.
Well, you look at David Beckham. David Beckham bought that into Milan for 150. Now it's purported over $1 billion.
Well, yeah, to get a franchise now in America, I think it's something like 400 million. Whereas when Beckham wrote it into his contract when he went out there, he was clever and he had it written in as whatever figure it was, so that even by the time he came to buy it, that figure hadn't changed and he had it written into his contract. And I'd imagine Messi's probably got the same thing. He's getting, like I say, he's got shares in Apple and Adidas and all the rest of it. Minted, mate. But is what it is. It's going to be weird having European competitions next year with no Ronaldo and no Messi, though.
No, yeah. It's like me when I go and see Paddy.
Loyalty's dead, mate. Loyalty's dead.
We're starting on that and we'll end with that.
Exactly. Loyalty's dead. Live for the rewards.
That reminds me.